Hello, one and all, and welcome back, back to the Great Unknown Audio Show with me, your illustrious host, and most appropriate face for radio, Maxim Jennings. And yes, we are on another Lord of the Rings film set hunt, and we have found some absolutely glorious spots to start this morning. I'll just tell you where I am at the moment. So we are walking along the Pakuratahi River in Kaitoki Forest Park, where we find maybe one of the most infamous film set locations. And that's right, folks, I am in fact in Rivendell, Imladris as it's called in the Elvish tongue, and there's still a bit of it there. There's some trees that are from the film location. It's actually a very small spot that's just kind of been picked out of thin air. It's right on the riverbank, and to commemorate where it was filmed, the infamous archway as the Fellowship leave Imladris has been remade to half the scale. And so if you ever just search up Rivendell on Google Maps anywhere, there's a photo of this archway that comes up. So it feels very much, in fact, real and a part of this world. So that's where we currently are, studio for today. And Rivendell has one of the best soundtracks of any movie location of all time. I'm obviously going to say that. And by this time, folks, if you hadn't realised that I was a Lord of the Rings fan, and I'm not an obsessive person, but this is single-handedly the only thing that I ever obsess about. I don't think there is a day that has gone by in the last 2 years where there hasn't been something in my mind at one point during my day relating to Lord of the Rings. And the fact that I can just live it for 2 weeks or so is something I've been waiting to do for a large proportion of my life. And so I do apologise for the excessive amount of content related to this movie franchise, but I'm also not sorry. It's been and it's just absolutely gorgeous as well. So the movie relevance is there, but just the actual preservation of nature, the greenery. This forest park is glorious. You don't have to pay to come in here. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing, this country. Anyway, let's take you back to last night, because we still did a bit of movement before settling down for the night. After visiting a number of Lord of the Rings film locations right in the centre of Wellington, I stayed in the city at a self-contained campsite, which is right on the marina, which is it's in an unbelievable location, free of charge. All you have to do is make sure you don't make a mess or anything. So no tent camping, unfortunately, but thank God I don't have the bloody tent, and car camping is more than allowed here, which is it's the first I've seen where you've been it's a very busy part of the city. Right as you're coming into the main city centre, there's just this car park, and it says camping on one side, no camping on the other. And it's ideal. It's absolutely ideal. So I stayed there, parked the car up, and then decided that I hadn't gone and seen a movie in a while. And I know for some of you non-cinema lovers, a while. I mean, you went and saw Dune 2 with Nick in 2.5 months ago. That's a long time for me to not go and watch a film. So and where else was I going to go to watch Mad Max Furiosa, the second in the modern Mad Max series to come out, but this one is a prequel. So where else was I going to go apart from the Embassy Theatre, notorious in New Zealand for one reason and one reason only? It held the world premiere to The Return of the King, the final film in the trilogy, the most Oscar-awarded film of all time, I believe. And so I had to go and see where they held the world premiere It's a very nice establishment. Only 3 kind of movie theatres there. You'd think it was more of like a grand opera house, and it obviously does show a lot of very fancy plays and shows. Because when I arrived in my tracksuit bottoms and black anorak, I did feel a bit slightly out of place, but when we got into the movie theatre it was fine. I had to go upstairs to kind of confirm my ticket. On the more expensive side of 25 New Zealand dollars, comes to about £12. And I have to say that actual viewing experience wasn't the best, because they had this kind of fan generator going off in the background throughout the entirety of the film. So whenever the score was silent or there was no dialogue, you could just see this. And I'm like, oh, good one for the dramatic tension. And then to the left of me, as I'm up against the wall, I can just hear someone banging outside. Must be doing some construction work here. 7 o'clock at night, but yeah, as an overall experience, just to try something else new, it was pretty fun and enjoyable. So I walked there, and New Zealand has a series of tunnels running through the city to pass through the mountain, Mount Victoria. And I was up yesterday, and there's a kind of a 700-metre stretch of underground road with a cycle and walkway that goes kind of alongside it, which is also underneath the tunnel. So that was quite fun. I hadn't been under a tunnel, walked under one, since I was in Florence, and that would be almost 2 years ago. So that was fun, and got the steps in, which was good. And then going to the film, we then went to another food recommendation of my good Kiwi friend, Mr. Jason Zhao, who recommended I go and try some fried chicken at Soul Shack. And I have to say, folks, when I got there, it did have a very kind of a kebab shop feel to it. It wasn't too busy, and I always judge a place on a population of customers, but it wasn't really a problem in the end, as I had some lovely fried chicken, as lovely as fried chicken can be, but it was bloody almost blew my fucking face off. I had a spice kind of grading system, and so I went for a 2 out of 4, which just said cayenne peppers. I thought that's going to be alright. Cayenne peppers, had them a lot before, but obviously they'd ramped up the spiceometer on this one, because I had 4 pieces of chicken, and within the first half of the wing that I ate, my nose was it became a waterfall of mucus and snots just dripping down into my tash. I won't go into any more detail, but it was not a very aesthetic affair between me and the chicken. It tasted great, and I got myself through it. It wasn't that I was ever gonna not eat this fried chicken, but I went through a lot of tissues within that 25 minutes, and it did make me eat slower, which is good. So I got full up quicker. Lovely crinkle cut chips with some great seasoning on them, and cinnamon donuts to finish what had been a very, very eventful day, and another monumental occasion, that 24 hours, which I will hold very dearly and close to my heart. So when we woke up, we had a little bit of a trek before getting back to the car, so a good 4 kilometres to kind of walk off the fried chicken and go back underneath the tunnel, which was good fun. Going under a tunnel at night almost feels like I'm either in a Batman movie and I'm going to see the Batmobile race past me, or I'm going to get stabbed from behind and be a part of a murder mystery. Either one of those I'd take as an ending. But obviously Batman does try and save civilians, so maybe he could have saved me from the person who was trying to mug me. Now what a film that would be. But anyway, we woke up at about 9 a.m. in the morning. That's not when we woke up, that's when we decided to get up after doom scrolling for a bit, and watching the sunrise from the boot of my car. Perfect, absolutely perfect. That's kind of a dream, really. I don't even have to get out of bed to see one of my favourite things of the day. How amazing is that? Just across the marina, beautiful stuff. Got up, made my classic Maxim's mega breakfast of bacon, eggs, spinach, 2 pieces of fried bread, and then made a bacon sandwich out of that, 2 fried eggs and a cooked tomato. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Following that, we then we departed. I unfortunately had to visit the lavatory twice within the space of an hour, which wasn't great for me, but also not great for the people who were going to use the facilities after me. And to them, I can only apologise. There's only so much I can do without a toilet brush, and that's all I'm going to say. So we made a 30-kilometre trip north along the Hutt River to go to Poets Park, where another Lord of the Rings filming location was to be observed. This was where Galadriel of Lothlorien, one of the elven ring bearers, says goodbye to the Fellowship once again in the first film, and gives them all gifts and also boats to travel down the Underwind River. So Poets Park is a park that's along the Underwind, along the Hutt River, and so I tried to find the rock where she stood as she waved them off to a perilous adventure. I wasn't sure if I found the right spot, but I mean, I just felt that awe of a shallow river with just that gradual trickle of downstream water making its move and carrying the Fellowship down what is an amazing spectacle. I tried to book a kind of full eco-tour experience of going down the Underwind River, but that was going to cost me 130 quid for the day, and that didn't feel like money I wanted to spend, and maybe I could just stop a few spots along the way and get the same feeling I would after 8 hours of watching some poor sod row for me when I could be doing that myself. And that brings us to where we are now. It's about 1 p.m, so a long recount for only half the day spent now, but I have to travel north as I only have just over 24 hours left with the spaceship. Sad times, I know. It's been a great run so far, so we have to go to New Plymouth, which is a seaside town just to the west of Mount Taranaki, which has very little Lord of the Rings significance, but is a beautiful snowy mountain, which my friend recently tried to climb. I'm not going to be trying to climb it, I'll tell you that after the last experience, and well, we just don't have time. So that's our stop for tonight. So that's a good... I mean, I can't even bloody find it. It's very much the most westerly point of the North Island of New Zealand. Not of New Zealand. Well, one of the most westerly points. It's 150 miles where I am now, and in the slow mover of the spaceship that could take me up to... Well, it's going to take me 5 hours. So I must dash, as I don't really want to be caught in the lack of light and the dull dark of the New Zealand nighttime. So we're going to wrap this episode up, but thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, evening, morning, and goodbye.